Hello people, Digital Mouse here. I first bought my Legion Go back in November of 2023. Since I've had it, I've made a number of changes. I went from Windows OS to Bazzite OS and back to Windows. I upgraded the SSD a couple of times. I even changed the look by adding a skin, but now I'm starting all over again. I'm setting up my Legion Go as if it were brand new by reinstalling all of the software. My original plan was to do a fresh install using a copy of Windows I purchased. But then I found Lenovo's Recovery Media Creator tool on their support page. It let me create official recovery media for the Legion Go, so I could reinstall Windows and all the necessary drivers without having to use my copy of Windows or its product key. I first had to enter my Legion Go serial number. Lenovo recognized my device, then gave me an option for a digital download. After accepting the licensing agreement, I signed into my Lenovo account and downloaded their USB recovery software. Once the download was complete, I opened Lenovo's software and found I had to log into my account again. I selected the operating system on display and began downloading my recovery files. I used the dock with a wireless keyboard and mouse for this install. I connected my USB to the dock and selected it in the recovery creator. On the following pop-up, I selected yes to create partitions and started the process of writing the recovery media to the USB. My Legion Go originally came with a 1TB 2242 SSD, which wasn't nearly enough space for the games that I like to play, so I upgraded it to 2TB and then eventually to a larger 4TB 2280 SSD using an adapter. I never had any problem with the adapter, but I plan on installing my 4TB 2280 on another device down the road. So for this setup, I'll be installing a Corsair 2TB 2242 instead. To get it ready for installation, I opened Windows Disk Management and formatted the drive using NTFS. Before doing any work on the Legion Go, I wanted to disable the built-in battery. I did this by holding down the volume up and power buttons to access the BIOS setup. From there, I went to More Settings, then Configuration, and selected Disable Built-in Battery. At first I thought it didn't work because the device powered on when I pressed the power button, but after shutting it down and trying to turn it on again, it wouldn't power up, confirming that the battery was disabled and I wouldn't be able to turn it on even if I accidentally pressed the power button. I removed the 6 screws from the back of my Legion Go. I pried open the back cover, then removed it. I replaced my old SSD with the new one, screwed it back into place, then put everything back together. I connected my Legion Go to a dock with the USB I created plugged in. Then I went back into the BIOS, but this time I went into the boot menu and selected my USB. When I got to the product recovery menu, I selected my language and region and followed the on-screen instructions. At one point, I was instructed to remove my USB. After that, Lenovo's recovery program continued with the installation process. The whole thing did take a while, but Lenovo's program did most of the heavy lifting. If you're enjoying this video, hit that subscribe button. It lets me know that you want to see more content like this. Once the recovery process finished, I went through the usual steps of installing Windows. It did give me the option to restore from a backup, but instead I chose to set it as a brand new PC. Once Windows was installed, my Legion Go felt fresh out of the box. I didn't have to download Legion Space since it was already pre-installed. Instead, I simply opened it and completed the setup. I then went through the process of installing my favorite gaming platforms, starting with Epic and then Steam. I had trouble installing Steam from Legion Space. Instead, I went online and downloaded the app from the Steam website. Then I began downloading all my favorite games. To make up for the storage I lost from the 4TB 2280 SSD, I'm going to install this SanDisk 2TB microSD card. But before that, I want to talk a little bit about the hardware. I think Lenovo did a really good job in terms of build quality, because even though I've had it for over a year, the hardware has held up really well. The buttons continue to feel great even after extensive use. They don't show any signs of wear or sticking. The triggers on top and back continue to feel responsive, although admittedly, I generally don't use the back buttons. The HoloFX joysticks haven't given me any problems, and at first I thought the removable controls were kinda gimmicky, but I've come to enjoy using them while playing games like Valorant and Fragpunk. And the Z1E processor is still able to handle all of the games I like to play. I don't want you to think that I'm trying to sell you that the Legion Go is perfect, because it definitely is not. And there are 2 things that I especially don't like about it. My main complaint is the battery life. The Legion Go comes with a 49.2 watt-hour battery, which is nowhere near enough for a handheld gaming device like this. The other thing that really bugged me was the fan noise. I'm not sure if it'll come through in the video or not, but the fan had this super annoying whirring sound. I ended up replacing it with one I found on Amazon. Honestly, the process wasn't too difficult, just a little bit tricky. I had to take out a bunch of screws, and I had to mess with it to kind of move things around a little bit so I could get to this tiny little fan plug, but I was able to get it installed, and the new fan did help a little bit, but not enough for me to recommend doing it. However, I do recommend that you take the time to clean it. Mine was pretty gross. Okay, back to the microSD installation. Upgrading my storage with a microSD card was super simple using Steam. I just popped in my new 2TB card. From big picture mode, I headed into settings. Then I went to power and selected exit big picture mode. This took me to the desktop style view. Once there, I clicked on Steam in the upper left corner, opened settings, and went over to the storage tab. From the drop down, I clicked add drive, and in the pop-up window, I selected the card I just installed. Then I just clicked add, and the new 2TB card was ready to go. After that, I jumped back into big picture mode, and I was able to start downloading all of my favorite games. I still had a bunch of games sitting on a smaller 1TB card. Instead of downloading everything all over again, I just moved everything over. First, I connected my old microSD card using a USB hub with a card reader. Then, from Steam's desktop mode, I opened settings and went to the storage section. I clicked add drive, and when the Windows Explorer window opened up, I navigated to my older 1TB card and hit select folder. Back in the storage window, Steam recognized the old card and listed all the games installed on it. I checked the boxes to the right of the games I wanted to transfer, then clicked move at the bottom of the screen. Next, I selected my new 2TB card as the destination, and Steam started transferring everything over. I plugged in my Legion Go to make sure it had enough battery, since I was moving a lot of games and didn't want it dying mid-transfer. Once everything was finished transferring, I confirmed that the 1TB card no longer had anything on it, then removed it as a library. I've had this Nintendo Dbrand skin on my Legion Go for quite a while now, and it's done a really good job of protecting it from, well, for me. I got this scratch while I was trying to take it apart one day, but the Dbrand skin ensured that it was scratched and not the Legion Go itself. But it's time for a change. I'll be installing this new Dbrand X-Ray skin on the Legion Go. And in case you were wondering, no, they're not a sponsor yet. I just like their products. Another thing I love about the Dbrand skins is how easy they are to remove. No heat gun, no hassle, just peel and go. And now for the fun part, installing the X-Ray skin. I took my time with it, starting with the right controller, lining everything up carefully before pressing down, then the left controller. Next came the top plate, then the bottom, the kickstand, and the back plate. I left the area over the vent uncovered to keep airflow unrestricted. The X-Ray light is definitely my favorite out of all the Dbrand skins, and as an added bonus, Dbrand actually includes the X-Ray dark version in the box too. Even as a first-gen device, the Legion Go still holds up, and honestly, I have no regrets buying it. It's still one of my favorite handhelds, and now that it's been out for a bit, you can probably score a great deal on one, as long as you're not chasing the absolute latest and greatest hardware. If you like this video, then you'll definitely want to check out the ones coming on screen right now. See you in the next one.